So are we gonna do it like each go through our interview, or are we gonna like ask the first question and then each answer?
I think if we each just go through it, because then we're staying on the same topic.
Okay, I think that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay,
Okay.
we are live. I'm Kaylee.
I'm Brittany.
Oh, sorry. And I'm Amy.
Perfect. I'll go first, I guess. So I interviewed my internship supervisor who works for the Christmas Box House. She's the community outreach, so she kind of connects the community with the Christmas Box House because the state employees can't ask for donations. And so she doesn't work for the state, she works for the Christmas Box International, and they're the ones that go out to the community and ask for donations and go to like the um, now I just lost it. The community meetings and ask for things that are good for the children, like for laws to be created. So the first question is, what led you to get involved with the Christmas Box House in the first place? And she said that her sister worked there first, and she was always intrigued by the stories that her sister shared. Her sister was a social worker there, was the intake specialist, and she was looking for a more meaningful career that hit close to home, and she had actually taken care of their niece and nephew when they were removed from their home for about 5 years, and so she had experience with foster care, and that's why she decided to get involved with that. What do you see are the most prevalent problems for families here in the community? And she said that drug and substance abuse is probably the biggest one. It affects more and more families each day. Other problems have include having babies at a young age in unstable homes and broken families, lack of parenting skills and poverty. Violence and abuse are still prevalent, but many of those cases can be traced back to drug abuse or broken homes or unstable families or poverty. And then how does the Christmas Box International help children and families locally? The shelter, the Christmas Box House, provides a temporary place for abused and neglected or abandoned children to stay while more permanent arrangements can be made. We provide the necessary items such as clothing, shoes, hygiene items. We support and partner with organizations who provide classes, resources, and skills to help break the cycle of abuse and create stronger families. One thing that I think is cool is they go to a place called Solstice, and those are actually girls that have eating disorders here in Utah. It's a place where they go, and the girls once a month will create an activity for all the abused and neglected children, and then the kids come to Solstice and they do an activity, and Solstice has horses, and so they'll teach the younger kids to ride horses and stuff, and so they try and connect other kids that are struggling with the kids at the Christmas Box House, which I think is cool. Do you feel that your organization is child or family focused? It's mainly child focused. We're here for the children when their parents are unable to properly care for them. However, we work with the parents as well in hopes that they can become able to provide a safe place for their children. But if not, it's always the children first. One of the functions of a community is to socialize, instilling its norms and values in its members. How does the Christmas Box International accomplish this function? We help educate the community and share the stories of children we serve so that more changes can be made. We also provide a place for the community to come together to serve those in needs. So the shelter is separated into two parts. One part is where the kids are, and the other part is where community members can come in and learn about the children and provide service, create different kits, or organize the clothes that the kids get, or whatever. Majority of our donations come directly from our community. Through sharing our needs with the community members, they are empowered to help, whether it's through monetary donations, in-kind donations, or service. We actually had a guy call the other day and say he wanted to make a $5,000 donation to the organization to help kids, so that was amazing. And then, how do you feel that the Christmas Box International helps the community provide informal or formal support to families. She feels that it's more informally. They do it through parenting classes or peer parenting, but they do formal classes. Let's see. Family Support Center. They work a lot with the Family Support Center, even though they're not the Family Support Center, and so they guide parents to parenting classes and stuff like that. So that's kind of my interview. Tried to make it shorter because she talked a lot.
Sounds cool.
That's awesome. That's pretty cool. I could do mine next. So I just did, mine was like it's called the Franklin Community Center, and it's based in upstate New York, and it provides safe and like affordable housing, but it kind of does like everything. It's kind of amazing. They do like housing, they have a food pantry, they have a store set up for like free clothing and furniture. They do like counseling for like teen pregnancy and stuff. They do holiday assistance. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this. Basically, they help out families that can't provide a Christmas for their kids or whatever holiday it is. But they help them provide gifts really special. And then they also do, she just told me advocacy and referral information. So basically, I think they just refer, like they're not a counseling center per se. So they just refer them to, like, I think different not businesses, but organizations that could help them, and just give them like the necessary referrals that they need. And they also have this thing called Project Lift, and it's like an after-school youth prevention program. So they basically just they provide like tutoring, they do some sports. It's just a way to help kids stay out of trouble that are in pretty like bad areas. So the first question was, what led to you to get involved with Franklin Community Center in the first place? And Julie actually just started there as like a volunteer, just because she needed to fulfill a certain amount of hours for a class that she was taking in school. And she kind of just stayed there for like, I think she said something like 6 or 8 years before she actually got a job working with them. And they only have, it's kind of amazing the amount that they can do with so little support that they have. They only have 7 full-time employees, and then they rely basically the rest of the work needs to be volunteer, so that they can actually like give back to the community still. And then what do you see are the most prevalent problems for families in the community? And she said first, their big thing right now is that Project Lift is to kind of prevent youth from getting into drugs and gangs and stuff. So she said that the youth need to get involved in something, you know, whether it's academics or sports or some kind of community program, whatever it is. She said if you give the child the opportunity to succeed, and that they know that somebody not only just cares about them but believes in them, then they can go on to do something amazing. They just need the opportunity. And she also said substance abuse is a huge problem, so that they see a lot of substance abuse and mental illness. Basically, there's just not, they don't either take advantage of the resources that they have, or they don't know about the programs that are available for them. And then she also said the lack of jobs is a big problem. The Franklin Community Center is based out of Saratoga Springs, and it's in upstate New York, and it's a pretty well-off town, and it's a larger city, but there's I guess a shortage of jobs for people that come from like disadvantaged backgrounds. It's not, they find a lot of people just don't want to hire them, frankly. Like, you need a degree basically for everything. So if you're homeless, or you know you're college, you haven't graduated from high school or something, it's really hard to find a job. So then they look for other means of providing whatever they need to support their family or themselves, and sometimes it's legal and sometimes it's not. So like a big thing is providing people with the help that they need to be able to gain employment so that they can go on and provide for themselves. And then the other question was, how does the Franklin Community Center help children and families locally? And she said that they're all about the community and helping those that are in need. That's their total mission statement. They offer support to families by hosting a food pantry. They provide housing. They do a free clothing and furniture. And they also, I mentioned this before, they provide referrals and stuff for people that are struggling with mental health issues, substance abuse, or any kind of domestic violence. They do everything. And then the other question was, do you feel your organization is child or family focused? In other words, does your organization strive to strengthen the family or to step in to help children when families are failing? And she kind of didn't answer it completely. She said both. She couldn't choose. She said both. But one thing that they focus on is that no two families are alike, and that every situation is different, and that they treat each family or each person, because they don't help just families. You can be just a single person and they'll help you. They treat everybody on an individual basis. And she talked more about the Project Lift program that they have. I guess that's one way that they focus on helping children where families are failing. And then another program she talked about, which was really awesome, was they have this program called MOM, and it's Methods of Motherhood. And they basically provide services and education for pregnant and parenting teenagers. They cover everything. I mean, and this is on top of like what is it, like WIC that they get to. They cover breastfeeding. They do making your own baby food. They can teach you first aid, CPR, even like some parenting strategies to kind of handle and deal with difficult behaviors. This program, she said, was really effective, and that they've seen a lot of benefits from it. And then the two questions that I asked that I had to come up with are, the first one, what are some things that the community could do to help support your organization? And she said, you know, obviously volunteering is the first thing to actually get in the doors is amazing. They always need people. At the clothing little store, they always need people helping to sort and arrange all the clothing that they get. The food pantry, you know, they always need people there. But she said the biggest thing that they actually need is donations, and that, you know, everything from food and coats and clothing and furniture, you know, these are things that we ourselves can take for granted on a daily basis. But there are so many people, she said, that come in there that don't have it. So even being able to pick out, you know, a coat for your child so they're warm and they stay safe and healthy, she said that makes like the biggest difference in their lives. And the last question was, how has your life or outlook on the family been impacted since you became a part of this organization? And she was really sweet. She said that she kind of got a reality check, and she said that there are lots of good people and there are lots of bad people that take advantage. And it kind of made me sad when she said that, because they have people that take advantage, she said there. But she also said that, what was it? She said, I realized that you should never assume anything. Don't think you know someone's story just because you have had a short conversation with them and that they are in need of help. She also said, don't judge too harshly because you don't know like the shoes that they have walked in. So basically, you don't know what they've been through. So just provide them with the support that you can, and do the best that you can. And that was mine. She was really sweet. She's been there a long time, but she's actually only been employed there for, like, I think she said 2 or 3 years, but she's been volunteering there for 6 or 8. So it's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
That's sweet.
Okay, well, I can talk about mine. So I interviewed Deanna Palmer from the Family Crisis Center here in Rexburg. Like I said, she came as a guest speaker to one of our group supports for some teenagers at my school, and it was really cool because that was one of the coolest groups that I've been in, was with her, and I got a chance to talk to her just a little bit before the girls got there, and so yeah, so some of the questions, when I asked her what led you to get involved with the Family Crisis Center in the first place. She actually didn't really answer that. She didn't really answer how she got involved, but she just went straight into saying how much she loved it and how much like she enjoys working with these girls. And I don't know if she just avoided the question or if she like just wanted to talk about how awesome it was. Um, she said like her favorite, like she loves helping people victims of violence, and she said she loves the groups and to see women go from like a sense of no self-worth to actually feeling some confidence in themselves, um, and just to kind of help them get back on their feet again. And so she didn't really say why she got or how she got involved, but she just jumped right into how much she loves it. The second question was, what do you see are the most prevalent problems for families here in the community? And she said, I mean, a lot of her questions kind of overlapped, but I'd say specifically for this one, she said that one thing within the community that is a little bit of an issue, but can also be a strength, is the closeness of the community. And she said that the reason why it's a problem is because it's kind of when something goes wrong, every single other person knows about it. And so she said it can be a strength, but it can also be a weakness, simply because everybody knows and everybody knows everybody's business. And so it's kind of hard to like keep confidentiality and to keep, I don't know, just keep things, I don't know, helping these women to start out new, just because it's such a small community. How does the Family Crisis Center help children and families locally? So the Family Crisis Center, they provide 24-hour crisis line. They provide a safe shelter. They have crisis intervention services. They have support groups. They have immediate on-scene intervention with law enforcement if necessary. And they also refer to other community services and community education, public awareness, which is a big thing, and emotional and legal advocacy. And so that's what I've worked with her most on, is like the advocacy part. And then kind of going into the next question, focusing on the advocacy part, when I asked her if it was more of a child or a family focused, at first she just said kind of both. She said it's called the Family Crisis Center, so I was kind of assuming that it would be more family oriented, but it kind of sounded like it was more the individual women who are in need of it, which kind of makes sense. She said they provide services for these women, like if their children need food or clothing, they can help provide that. They have their little store of clothes, and they also connect with other people in the community. But she said, for the most part, their services are for the specific individuals that are going through these issues. A lot of times they come from broken families, so their main focus is getting these women into a safe environment. And sometimes that means breaking up the families, which is sad, but their goal is just safety first. She actually, in our group, she had all of our girls say a phrase that I really, really liked. It was, I need to care more about how you treat me than how I feel about you. And she made every girl repeat that, just because she was saying that, like, love can cover up all those feelings. Even though someone's abusing you or hurting you or any of those things, love can kind of just cover it up and shove it away. But she was like, you need to care more about how they're treating you than how you actually feel about them. And then some of the extra questions I asked her if she could change anything within the community, what would she change? And she said the main thing that she would change is education. She talked about how there's like a lot of information out there, but there's so little of it dispersed. She said, for example, teens going through an abusive relationship are often ostracized by their parents. But this isn't always a good reaction to what's going on. And they don't have the tools to respond in the appropriate way, even though there's so much out there. So it's kind of like there's so many tools and so many things that you can learn, but she just said a lot of it doesn't get to people, or people don't take it seriously, or they think it can't happen to me. She also mentioned how a lot of people think it's just women who go through it, but she mentioned that there are high rates of abuse within gay relationships, and she is actually advocating for, they have a thing called Our Gender Revolution, and it's just to help people understand that, like, how much women are usually the victims of violence, but it also happens to men, and it also happens to all these different things, but a lot of it is because there's like a struggle of power between men and women, and that's why it's usually women who end up being the victims. So that's kind of their campaign they're working on. And then my second question I asked was just kind of, I was looking more into the chapter a little bit, and I asked her if she thought the size of the community or the diversity of the community affected the community in a good or bad way. And so this kind of goes back to the other question she mentioned, that the community is a lot closer and that everybody knows everybody's business. And she said it just gets hard sometimes to help because everybody knows everybody. But she did mention, along with this, that because it's such a close community and because it's such a tight community, that they work actually really well with other agencies. She mentioned how the DI donates vouchers to people coming into the crisis center, so if ever they need food or if ever they need clothing or something and they can't find what they need at the family crisis center, or they need it for a few more months that they aren't like staying in the shelter at the family crisis center, they can go to the DI and they give them little vouchers for a certain amount of money, and they can go. And they also work really closely with a lot of the counseling agencies as well as law enforcement, just to make sure that the women get back on their feet after, whether that's hopefully not with the same people, but or like with their same partners or whatever, but they're hoping to get them on their feet and in a better position in their life. So yeah, that's Deanna Palmer from the Crisis Center.
Great job. Okay, so it looks like Amanda could hear us, but we couldn't see or hear her.
Mm-hmm.
And then she left. So I think we're done. Jared didn't show up, and so
Okay.
I think that was it. You guys did awesome.
Awesome. Sounds
Good resources. So
great. Thanks, guys.
And if I understand correctly, I don't think we have one next week.
Yeah, I think I saw that.
Oh,
yeah.
sweet.
We're making a Facebook page or something with a group.
Oh,
I'm not sure if it's this group or if it's our discussion board group, but
okay.
Yeah, I quite understand it, but we'll figure that out.
We'll figure it out. I know. I'm like, I don't really understand it either, but I'm sure we'll figure it out.
Okay. Great. Thanks, guys.
Have a good weekend.
You too. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.